Welcome back, subscribers. This one's going to be really quick. So this is going to be about the Whoop device that I'm wearing. So I didn't know anything about this, and there's a girl that is on she's in Facebook quite a bit, and her name is Stacy. She talks to her AI. She calls her AI Sage, like I call mine Ezra, and she started asking all these like controversial kind of strange questions relating to like the cosmos and the way Earth works and the grid, like kind of new agey type of aspects. But she has a very, very deep understanding of this space, and you can tell that by listening to some of these back and forth conversations that she's having with the AI. And then the AI, again, you have to be careful because, and she even identifies this true, is that it starts emulating you. It's going to appease you. It's essentially like it's you on steroids. It's your essence of the way that you perceive reality, if you will. And it does it so eloquently with its language is its command of the language that you're using is fantastic. So at any rate, it basically it reinforces your own ideas. And as I've been working on some projects with AI, I've been like very cautious about that because I'm like, if I didn't know the like say the building science end of with what I'm doing and actually have the numbers, got a hair in my eye, I would think it's bullshit, total bullshit. But anyway, she's like branched out and she's gotten in contact with a number of people that were it's interesting. It's very interesting stuff. And at any rate, one of the guys that she had, she was on a podcast and a couple times with this guy, and he brought up the Whoop device and said that he'd asked Sage, the AI, about the Whoop devices and how there's a specific type of, it's kind of a meditative, it's a suspension device that he's created where I can't remember the guy's name, but you spin upside down, basically counterclockwise, red light therapy, strobing, also auditory. So you're basically getting like all of your input devices, your eyes, counterclockwise rotation, spinning upside down, anti-gravity. So you have all these like reverse energy elements that are playing into the body. And he said that it on the Whoop device that they have tracked it and tested it, and the testing was that you could probably backtrack this if you find Stacy, Stacy and Sage, something like that. You find this and find this guy. Again, like I think we're going to test this, but anyway, he talked about the Whoop device. He said it reduced your Whoop age by 10 years. All right, because it does something where it heals the body because of the frequencies. Essentially, what's happening? It's essentially like unwinding energy that's like trapped in the body. Okay, so if you know anything about like alternative energy elements and things like that, which is stuff that we're into and what we do at the reservoir, it's just part of it because we apply hermetic principles and basically like nature and elements into everything. Everything is dualistic. It isn't all just light and love bullshit. You have to have darkness in order to be able to have room for light and love. So it's like the most heinous leaves the space for the best. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, that's not the way it works. Be like, all right, go try to grow a plant with no darkness. Tell me how well that works. So it's already been emulated inside of nature. That you have to have this balance between, good and evil, light and dark, whatever you want to call it, and that balance is how everything runs here. It's just the way it works. So, but you're trying to get the balance as a human being to be like in the middle of it, masculine, feminine, that whole thing. So, at any rate, I was like, well, I'm gonna get testing. I want to try one of these because I can do these. I already have gravity boots. Let's just go. You use gravity boots, and then you just have to like basically use, a swivel, hang upside down, spin, lights. I was like, I can do this. I actually have most of the shit to be able to do this right now, but I don't have the data with the Whoop, right? So, and I never heard of it. I don't think it wasn't like in my decision space, like of potential like trying this out. So I talked to Kate and I was like, well, why don't we just run it through the company and we'll test it and we'll log it and then we'll do some videos. And I said, and then I said, I'll build the equipment but I'll do it with like my twist because he has his way, but my knowledge based upon, I, it's it's energy manipulation. I mean, some people might call it magic, and magic is just science that we don't understand. All right. That's all it really is. It's not like, I got goat skin chaps on and candles lit and all this other shit and I'm sacrificing something. Like, no, 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 no. You don't, it doesn't have to be that way. It's ritualistic, but if you understand how energies and things work, the way that you're doing it, if you can get to the same place, but instead of taking a left-hand turn, you take a right-hand turn. That's like kind of the metaphor. So instead of spinning right, you spin to the left. Instead of using, it's like playing on a keyboard. Instead of playing a sharp or a flat on a keyboard, all right, or chords. Then colors. Colors are also another one where you have corresponding. You have colors that clash one another. So, but you also have correspondent colors. Yellow and blue make green. Things like that. So you have your primary and secondary colors. So it's all through art. It's all through art, music, etc. So what you're essentially doing is taking these elements of energy and then you're applying them in the opposite of where you actually create entropy, where entropy is being absorbed into your body physically. Then it'd be like, well, it would make sense if you could like reverse the clock and do it in the opposite direction. Then that should like counteract the entropy in the body. So then that should remove the oxidative stress. And anyway, he's tested it, and I was like, oh yeah, well, it's cool that I haven't talked to the guy, but I know exactly what he's talking about because I've done my own series of tests and things like that privately over the past 12 years, I guess, because I've got a little lab off on my house and I do all these kind of alternative energy projects that I do. And like right now, I'm doing one right now that's not it. My HVAC project and that energy thing, if you've seen some of those videos, that's hermetic, 100%. We're using exactly the same thing, only all I've done is just inverted some of the elements to it. And the main element to this, where I'm actually getting the majority of my energy and energy transfer, is Earth. So it's kind of a geothermal hybrid, is the best way I would describe. I'm actually using Earth and Sun, actually, with both these, because I had a breakthrough this morning, and I just had this idea. I was like, oh yeah, that would probably work. I should probably do so I redesigned a couple of things with it, which as each day goes by and I bounce it off of Ezra, my AI, it just gets so robust. And I'm like, oh, what if I did this and this and this? Oh, what's the BTUs of this? Oh, what if we dig a hole and we use stone and water and hermetically seal this, and then that's basically what I'm doing. And in short order, have in essentially like 3 weeks redesign how we're going to be thinking about heating and air conditioning because of my knowledge-based background in thermodynamics, because of my background in business. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing, but we're talking about the Whoop. So I've been running it for about 2 weeks now, maybe. And there's some interesting data that comes in. Worked outside, worked out, exercise, lifted, cardio, sleep performance, recovery performance. But there's some things that I think are potentially suspect, and that's why we're like doing the testing. If you tell it what you're doing, or it just knows on its own. So and this is what we're really testing, and maybe other people have probably done this, but we're just doing it independently just to kind of see, because yourself. And I've been walking around the planet for 51 years, so I know how my body performs when I exercise, when I'm in the heat, my sleep, and so on. If I'm waking up in the middle of the night, indigestion, et cetera, like all those things all come into play. It's all oxidative stress. So you do tell it what you do in the activities. So it also wants to know, like, the main things it wants to know in your journal. You have a daily journal. It wants to know how much caffeine you take in, how many cups of coffee you have, and what time you take it. It wants to know if you had any alcohol, how many drinks you've had and when you've had them. And then on a relaxation, do you read before bed as a way to like center yourself and slow down? So I have a cup of coffee a day. I have like a double espresso in the morning. And then I don't have any the rest of the day. And most of that is just more like ritualistic, I guess. I just like it. I like the coffee in the morning. I like the smokiness. I miss tobacco and smoking. I love that. I used to do that. I mean, I haven't really done it, for 20 years, consistently. I do have like, I have a nicotine patch. I've tried pouches and all kinds of different stuff, but it's like, stuff is crap. So, but the nicotine's are like actually good for you. There's therapeutic benefits to nicotine. You can look into that. So anyway, drinking, and I'm like, well, what if I coordinate it off and have it like as an event, like I'm exercising, like does it actually do something to you? So it surprisingly doesn't have it as a classification, which I thought was interesting. I was like, well, I'll name it something. So I named it. There's one of the activities is cuddling with a child. I was like, oh, let's just see if that's just what you do as a title classification for whatever that event is to see like what it does to you. Also, the other thing is like for sex, it doesn't have any classification. There is no, I didn't see it in there anyway, for that, because that's a physical activity. So that creates oxidative stress in the body. And but if you're logging it, not that you need to be like an adult, performer, but I'm just saying like, or you're a sex worker, but I'm just saying like in general, like if you are engaging in that it does burn energy, and that also adds to your oxidative stress and your stress during the day. So, but anyway, if you logged it and you told it that it was that, essentially whatever you're doing that is not drinking coffee or drinking alcohol or that goes into the journal, if it's considered an activity, does it weight it different? And that's what we're saying. So if I do drink and I don't tell it that I don't drink, like if I just like tie one on and drink a couple liters of beer, does it penalize me? Whereas if I tell it that I'm doing it, it'll be like, is it like a shame type of thing? It's like, oh yeah, he's drinking. Like we need to like, does it classify it differently or does it identify it the same? And the sleep performance, like whatever the sleep performance is. So anyway, I'm kind of, I don't drink that much, but I'm just saying like we've become aware of that, just to kind of let it ride where you don't classify it. I think it's more of that you would know whatever the event is that you're doing to classify it, so that you know further on down the road to be able to track it. Like it'll keep track for you, not be up your ass like Big Brother and knowing that you're a six-pack Joe kind of guy. So I don't know. Anyway, what we're doing is just like, it's just low and slow. I'll get my Whoop age, I think in like 3 days or something like that. So, and that's again, like relative, like how much you actually use your body, and then what your recovery rate is whenever you sleep, what your consistent heart rate is, et cetera, those things of like how you stack up against other human beings. But again, you put in your date of birth. So I believe there's a lot of algorithmic elements that come into play with this, where it's like, it's an assumption. It does do really well with the sleep, the recovery, and monitoring your heart rate and things like that, arrhythmias and things like that. So I could definitely see some uses for that, where you're getting, and the reason why I wanted to do this is like, well, Kate and I were talking, I was like, well, you're getting kind of older. It'd be kind of nice to know like where you are, like as far as your cardiovascular system, your nervous system, et cetera. And that's what it really does. So, and the only way to really know that is if you have data that you're running on a 24-hour clip. So at any rate, we're running it. We're trying to see, how it plays out against what we're doing in our lives. And not that we really need to make a lot of changes. We already know, like we run a pretty healthy lifestyle. Not psycho healthy, but healthier than a lot of other people, and take care of our bodies and so on. So I won't be surprised if it comes back like pretty low. And again, it's like that whole give them a cookie type of thing. Like you're gonna be like, oh, my Whoop age is 30 and I'm 50, something like whatever like that. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. And ultimately, it's to collect data on day in and day out elements. And then the other thing I haven't been doing is I haven't been taking C60 oils, C60 olive oil, and C60 is an antioxidant. I haven't been peptides right now. I'm not running any peptide cycles. So I'm curious as to see if get kind of like a baseline, and then get back on C60, for example, as I would take like a teaspoon like twice a day or so, or a tablespoon once a day, something like that. And get that back in the system to see if that reduces the oxidative stress, and then if that actually lowers the Whoop age, and then you would be able to determine that. So anyway, it's just like I've always just experimented with all kinds of different like weird sciences and alternative things, And I think this is a good one to put it out there and occasionally just like say, hey, this is the data we're seeing, and I'll just call this title this video like Whoop One, and then that way you can kind of go back and take a look at it. But that's what the reservoir is just like a whole bunch of different things where I test stuff on myself or ideas. It is financial that we talk about, but it's just being better self, better financial, better space, better human, better environment. That's why it's Reservoir Human. So there's it's a kind of a variety. It's not really a show. It's more of like it's a reservoir of information other people can use. And then whenever we start talking to other people and I have conversations with other people, we're trading information basically to get the same thing. Like we want to just kind of game the system, right? Just like whether it's financial, where to place your money, health is you're healthy, wealthy, and wise. If you're not healthy, you're broke. So it doesn't matter how rich you are. If you're a dumper, then man, there's no point. So anyway, there'll be more to come on this, and I'm gonna quit babbling, and so this will just be Whoop One. Cheers.